All right. So I've had this feeling lately, and it's not that anything is wrong, nothing's broken, nothing dramatic. Although there's a lot of that going on. It just everything feels off, and I really can't point to why. I don't know if it's me or if something actually shifted. It just kind of feels like there's always something happening now. News, updates, alerts. Something's trending, something's breaking. But at the same time, none of it really lands. It's like everything is important, so nothing actually feels important. I've noticed this in myself too, in that I don't stay with things as long as I used to. I'll read something, then jump to something else, then check something, then come back. And even when I try to slow down, it almost feels unnatural. And this really bothers me because I used to be able to sit with a thought, turn it over, follow it somewhere. Now it feels like actually thinking something all the way through is almost a luxury. Like you need space for it, and that space is harder to come by. And I've also been wondering is is some of this just age? Like when did everything start to feel so serious? I mean, I don't remember thinking this way when I was younger, of course. I mean, things felt lighter, not easier necessarily, but lighter. And in retrospect, I was actually carrying a lot responsibilities, expectations. I just did it. I didn't think about it in the same way as now. And maybe that's part of the difference. Not necessarily that there's more, but that I'm more aware of it. It's like before I was in it, now I'm also thinking about it while I'm in it. And now, even when things are going fine, there's this underlying weight to everything. Like you're always accounting for something, thinking ahead, managing risk, trying to make the right move. And what's interesting is I'm not even sure it's just me. I see it in my kids too. Obviously, they have a different version and different context, but there's still something there. More awareness, more exposure, more weight earlier than I remember. And that's what makes me pause a little. Because if it was just age, you'd expect it to show up later. But it doesn't seem to be waiting anymore. And I don't know if that's just the world now or something we're all kind of absorbing. And I don't know if that's just part of getting older or if it's something else layered on top of that. And I think part of it too is it used to feel like you could keep the world at arm's length. Like you were aware of things, local, global, what was going on, but it didn't live on top of you all the time. And now it kind of feels like everything is just in your face all the time. You really don't go looking for it anymore. It just shows up. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of that is social media. But even knowing that, why does it feel so hard to actually separate from it? I've tried. I've stopped consuming the news for a while and cut way back on social media. And honestly, it worked. Things felt lighter, quieter, but somehow I got pulled back in. And I don't even know exactly when that happened. It's like there's a version of you that wants distance and another version that just keeps checking. Not even because you care that much, just because it's there. And maybe that's part of what feels off. Not what we're seeing, but how close it all feels now. And then there's AI, which is amazing. I use it all the time. But I've caught myself not always thinking things through the same way. Like, am I exploring an idea or just getting to an answer faster? So I've been thinking about, what do you even do with this? Not fix it, just manage it a little better. I've been trying to be more intentional with how I use things, even AI. I I actually have come up with this idea that I'm working on called, beyond the search. Um, and it's like, instead of asking AI for a question and getting an answer and moving on, what if you stayed with it a little longer? Not just using it to tell you something, but using it to help you think something through. You know, um, you get your answer from AI, but then push back a little. See where it goes instead of just ending it. Like asking AI after you question it, why does this matter? What is this connected to? What am I actually trying to understand here? And trying to treat it less like a search engine and more like a place to explore an idea where the goal isn't the answer, what happens while you're figuring it out. Again, it's what happens while you're figuring it out. And and then I'll kind of take that with me. Like I'll go for a walk, get outside into nature. And when I'm in nature, it's not always, oh, I need to get a good walk in. It's just taking it slow, experiencing the environment, the smells, the sounds, walking up to a tree and touching it. Oh my gosh. But I'll carry that thought with me for a while of when I'm trying to really think things through and I've first used AI and challenged it more than just a search engine, and I'll sit with it and just turn it over. But like I said, only for part of the time. Most of the time I'm just taking in what's around me. The trees, the quiet, whatever's there. Because I'm not totally trying to solve anything. I'm not trying to figure anything out. I'm just kind of being in it. I've found that, and I don't think I'm saying anything new, but my biggest breakthroughs on understanding or whatever, I used to do it, I still do it. When I'm trying to teach myself something on the guitar or the bass, where I'll be shedding and I just can't get it. And I'll just put the instrument down. I'll go do something else. And whether I'm still thinking about it consciously or subconsciously, I don't know. But boy, 9 times out of 10, I'll come back to the instrument and I'll get it. Getting back to what I threw out there, everything feels off. And I don't, it's not just all this information. It's even work feels different lately. Less solid, less tied to identity maybe. I talked about that. But work feels more fluid, more uncertain. And what's interesting is on the surface, things can actually look really stable. I mean, my role feels stable, the company feels stable. But underneath that, there's this feeling, kind of like things are a little bit more fragile than they used to be. And I think that, extends to, you know, any job, any company, whatever. I mean, I don't know if that's just me because I feel like I'm picking up something from other people. People who've had, stable roles for a long time. But even just people entering the workforce. There's a lot of neighborhood kids. I call them kids, but they're all starting to graduate from college and, you know, working in or moving into the workforce. And it's different for each of them. Somebody new or been in the workforce for a while. It's they both kind of have a similar undercurrent. Like things are working, but maybe not as firmly as they appear. Almost like everything is holding together, but you're not entirely sure how tight the seams are or how long they'll hold. And maybe though, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it's not things falling apart. Maybe it's things shifting. Because when you think about it, any real change doesn't feel smooth while you're in it. Change, it feels uncertain, unsettled, sometimes even a little unstable. And maybe that's part of what this is. Not everything breaking, just everything moving. But that doesn't make it feel easy. Because even positive change can feel like upheaval while you're inside of it. You lose your footing a little, things don't feel as predictable, you're not quite sure where everything lands yet. And maybe that's what I'm picking up on. Not that things are worse, but they're not settled. And I also, and I think it's also worth saying, this isn't the first time things have felt uncertain. Our country, the world has gone through a lot. Serious moments, real challenges, and people, human beings, have always found a way through them. Us human beings, we are pretty adaptable, resilient, capable of handling more than we think. But maybe what's different now is how close we are to all of it. How much of it we see, how fast it moves, how constant it is. Everything is more visible, more immediate. Maybe it's not that things are more serious, it's that they feel more intense. And that can make it feel heavier, even if it's not entirely new. Maybe the weight isn't just in what's happening, but in how much of it we're carrying at once. I think that's the word I keep coming back to. Different. Not worse, not better, just not quite the same as it used to feel. And maybe that's always happening. Maybe we just don't notice it until we do. I don't really have an answer here. I'm not even sure there is one. It's just something I've been noticing. And I've been sitting with it a little more than usual. I don't know if it's just me or if something actually is off. And we're just starting to notice it. Anyway, that's just something I've been thinking about. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. This is Jeff, still figuring it out. I'm Jeff, and like most of us, I'm still trying to figure it out as I go. We'll talk more soon.